Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name's Lisa Levinson. I'm the Campaigns Director for In Defense of Animals, and we are so excited that you could join us today for this very special program. Today is our final webinar for Activist Appreciation Month, which is a special time each year that we honor your activism. And what we have on the program today is a very special interview with our guest, Tracy Murphy, who is the founder of Asha's Farm Sanctuary. So we're delighted to have her with us today. How are you doing, Tracy?
I'm doing well. How are you? Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it very much, Lisa.
Oh, yes, it is my pleasure. On behalf of In Defense of Animals, and also today we have Mary Easonsey here with us. Hey, Mary.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Mary works with us here at IDA, so we're just delighted to have her with us. She's going to help us with the chat box. So if anybody has any questions, you are welcome to, or if you'd like to make any comments, you are welcome to put those into the chat box if you'd like. If you have specific questions for Tracy or for me, you're welcome to put them into the Q&A section of the webinar. That's where we'll be picking out the questions later when we do our Q&A. First, we're going to get to know Tracy a little bit better. I'm going to ask her a couple questions myself, and then also we will show just a couple slides to introduce you to Tracy and to the sanctuary. So thanks to everybody for joining us today. Really appreciate your presence, and we look forward to hearing all about Tracy's story. So first up, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that we can have some of the slides and you can meet some of the beings at the sanctuary. Maybe just a moment while we get this sharing happening. Hold on one sec before we go into it. Let me just try one more little technical thing. Let me get our sharing. There we go. All righty. All right, take two on sharing. Good. Wonderful. Now, hopefully you guys are seeing my screen. And let's see, we've got, put it into the slideshow format. Great. So here we are. Let me go ahead and make sure we've got spotlight on Tracy, and also I'll include myself in here too. So hopefully you're seeing my screen and seeing a little bit about what we've got for you today. So for today, we've got a little bit about Tracy, and we'll hear her story. We're going to learn a bit about Asha's Farm Sanctuary and hear who Asha was, and also hear a little bit about this man in Little Room. Then we'll talk about Tracy's arrest and upcoming trial. So we have been in support of Tracy, and we put together an alert, and you're welcome to go to idausa.org/take-action, and you'll find on there Tracy's alert is up at the top, and you can sign on to that if you'd like to. And we'll put the link in the chat box and also in the Facebook. So thank you so much. And then next, we will go ahead with the next slide. And this is Tracy and one of her rescue cows. So I was wondering, Tracy, if you will just, maybe we'll do the pictures first and then we'll do the questions. So here is a photo, and you can see some of the sanctuary in the background there. And this is Ismael, who is part of the story that we'll be sharing in a moment. And here is little Willow. These are two key characters of the story. And also wanted to thank you so much for being part of this today. And this is a way that you can support our work if you'd like to. So these are very simple slides. I just want to give you the visual of the animals and also to get to know Tracy a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the share and allow for us to focus a little bit more on Tracy. So Tracy, just wanted to ask you a couple questions. First of all, thank you for joining us. And if you don't mind telling us a little bit about yourself and also about your vegan story.
My vegan story. I, for a long time, was eating animals. I was eating chicken and pigs and cows. And I wasn't giving any thought to what was on my plate whatsoever. Living my life, having fun, going to parties, having a good time, not thinking about any of those animals whatsoever. And then one day, I decided that I wanted to go see cows and pigs and chickens because I have dogs and I love animals and I wanted to go see them. So I went to a local fair with my friend and I was so excited. And I said, where's the animal barn? Where's the animal barn? I want to go see the animals. And we went to the animal barn and I came across this pen and there were two young pigs, so precious, so chubby and pink and cute. And they were on this bed of straw and they were sleeping. And as they were sleeping, they were twitching. And I thought to myself, it's like they're running through a field of flowers, that they're dreaming that they're doing that. And at that moment, a light bulb went off in my head. I'm eating them. And very quickly after that, another thought came into my mind. And that was, if I'm eating them, I'm causing them suffering and pain. Now, I didn't get that from a billboard. I didn't get that from a leaflet. I didn't get that from the internet. They didn't even really have the internet back then. I got that from my heart and from my mind. I got that from my moral compass of right and wrong. And I looked at my friend and I said, I'm not going to eat pigs anymore. And I didn't eat pigs anymore, Lisa. I just didn't. I couldn't. And I was still eating all the other animals. I was eating the cows. I was eating chicken. I was eating fish, all sorts of animal products, oblivious to what I was doing. And then I had another awakening, and I would say that it was an awakening. I was on my way to work at my corporate job, and I saw a billboard, and that billboard showed a beagle, and it said that, and she was in a cage. She was in this awful cage, and that billboard said Sally suffered in IAMS experiments for years. And I was devastated because I had my own dog, Asha, and I couldn't understand what that meant. How could this innocent dog be suffering in a cage for years? I went to work and all I could think about was that billboard. And when I got home, I looked it up. We were starting to have the internet then. I don't think we had Facebook yet, but I went to that website that was on that billboard, and I saw the worst atrocities, horrible atrocities. Animals suffering in circuses, animals suffering for experiments, just horrible cruelty that is being hidden from us. And in the corner of that website was a little icon that basically said, click here to learn more about farm animal suffering. And I would not touch it. I wouldn't go near it. But yet every night after work, I kept going back to that website and I kept wanting to learn more about the cruelty and learn more and learn more and learn more. And every single night was that video that I couldn't click on about farm animals. I just couldn't bring myself to it. I didn't want to know. I didn't want to know what was going on. I was eating these animals. I was oblivious to their suffering. I just didn't want to know. And then one day I got the courage and I clicked on it. I saw the worst atrocities. I saw innocent animals pleading for their lives, screaming, crying, being put through a senseless slaughter, being killed in front of each other, families being ripped apart, horrible, horrible atrocities. And what was the most devastating thing was seeing no mercy for them. There was no mercy. And I kept watching it over and over and over again while I was still eating animals. And then one night I fell to my knees and I said, God, what should I do? We were told that, animals are there for us to eat and we should eat them. And what God told me, a God of love, told me, if it is not of mercy, it's not of me. That was it. That was it. I stopped eating animals completely.
That is so powerful, that moment. And I appreciate that you're sharing that with us. That's a really deep experience to go through that huge transformation. I'm curious how this led you to creating Asha's sanctuary, and tell us a little bit about Asha.
So after that experience, I stopped eating the animals and I was searching for like-minded people that I could talk to about it because my family didn't really understand. My friends didn't understand. And so I started a group. Like I said, there really wasn't Facebook at the time. It was meetup.com that I went to, and I started a vegan group where we could have dinner night out and eat vegan food and just be around like-minded people that had the same experience or similar experience to me. And as I was doing that, it was nice for a while, but I thought, we really need to start educating people about what's going on. I mean, I couldn't even find a group and I had to start this group. So there was absolutely no education that was happening in this area. So I decided to broaden the group and I brought in educated speakers, medical professionals, to do lectures and educate the people on the benefits of a vegan diet and how it fights cancers and heart disease, and it's just so healthy for us. And brought in people to teach about the cruelty of what's going on with these innocent animals that are suffering behind closed doors, that are screaming for their lives, that are being sent to this senseless slaughter with no mercy, no help. And I brought people in to educate about these animals. People were starting to become vegan. People were, didn't know. They just didn't, people just don't know. They didn't know. I was doing that for a while. And then, I just thought, well, they really need to meet the animals. They need to meet the animals. So it was on my heart to start a sanctuary where people could meet these animals actually and see that they're emotional beings, and give them a solid reason of why they should stop eating animals for these animals. And it was so important to me, but I just never found the right time to do it. I was caught up in my career. I was in a corporate job. I had an awesome job. Anybody would have killed for it, a lucrative career. I was just caught up in all of that and so afraid to try something new, to do something new, I just wasn't able to do it. And then my dog, Asha, who I had since she was a baby, and I named her Asha because it meant life, and she brought life to me. And she was diagnosed with cancer. She was almost 11 years old. And I loved her so much. She was a lot like me, we had the same personality. And I tried everything to keep her in this world. I did everything I could. She was going. And when I called the vet to come to let her go at my house, and I held her and I hugged her and I told her how much I loved her. And she died in my arms. And at that moment, I realized life is so short. And I knew that it was time. It was time not to hang on to the corporate world and to start doing something to help these innocent animals. And I sold my home 6 months later, and I founded Asha's Farm Sanctuary.
Wow. That is absolutely an incredible story of love and devotion. It's as if you dedicated the sanctuary to Asha. And I know that so many other animals have benefited from that moment, that realization that you had. Wow. Well, thank you so much for doing that. A lot of us can relate to that pain and suffering that happens as we care for our animals, especially if they have sickness or disease, and just the love and the bond that we have with them. And you took that to the next level. You really decided to be proactive, and that's wonderful. And I know so many animals have benefited because of it. Do you want to share a little bit about Asha's Sanctuary? What you guys do there at the farm sanctuary?
Well, when I started Asha, and like you said, Lisa, I named it after her. I later found out that Asha not only meant life, it meant hope. And so it was really the perfect name for our sanctuary, because that's what it gives to these animals. There was nothing here, nothing, a house. Everything, would have to be built from the ground up. And I remember struggling just to get a chicken house built and a chicken shelter. And I was talking to my mother about it, and I said, Mom, it's just so hard. I don't know what to do. I'm trying to create awareness about the sanctuary, but everything's so costly. Everything is just costs a lot of money, and I don't know what to do. And she said to me, Tracy, have you asked God to help you? And I said, nah, I don't know. And she says, you need to ask God and he will help you. 2 days later, my mother passed away. And I just really lived on hope and prayer. And miraculously, donations started coming in. Donations just started coming in enough that I was able to leave my corporate job. I was able to work at the sanctuary full time. We were able to rescue more animals. We were able to build a barn. The sanctuary was just taking off. And I didn't wait to start bringing people in. I brought people in right away so they could meet the animals. And I would bring them on tours and tell them about how wonderful they are and emotional. And I would have them meet them individually. I would tell them about the cruelty that was going on. And people just said I didn't know. And people were wanting to learn about a vegan lifestyle. They didn't want to contribute to any suffering whatsoever. So Asha just eventually started to grow and grow and grow and grow. And we have multiple barns and a beautiful visiting center that's still under construction. Massive events where we bring in thousands of people. And that's where we were at with Asha's Farm Sanctuary. It was just beautiful to have that in this community, an educational facility that was rescuing animals.
Wow. More incredible stories. I mean, I'm just blown away by the it's as if it was all happening in synchronicity. And I know that you're a spiritual person, and sometimes that is part of it. It's like you kind of reached out and were given support for your efforts, and I'm grateful for that. Yeah. So you've had this busy sanctuary life, educating the public, bringing people in to meet the animals. And then there are a couple new animals who wander in. I think Ismael and Little Willow. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
My life is animals. I love animals. I want to protect animals. I want to care for animals. One day I was out getting my coffee like I always do. It was early in the morning before my staff was here at the sanctuary. And when I was coming back and pulling up, I saw a cow and a couple cows. And the one I looked at, I thought, oh, wow, is that Moses? I thought it was Moses, who's the red Holstein that I rescued. But I looked again and I was like, oh my gosh, this is not Moses. These are two cows that are on the sanctuary. And the first thing that came to my mind was, they are loose. I want to get them so they're safe. Anything could happen to cows. There have been cases in this area where cows have been killed in traffic. I wanted to help them right away. So I got them safe. I got them inside the fence of Asha. They were clearly on my property, and I got them inside the fence where they were safe and wouldn't run out into traffic. Lisa, I immediately reported it to the SPCA the same day, let them know, they were there. And then I just went about my business. I cared for them, provided them food, medical attention, water, love, fresh bedding, and they were, just part of the sanctuary family. They were getting to know all the animals, getting to know me. I was getting to know them. I got to know their personalities. I got to know, I named them Ishmael and Little Willow. I got to know Ishmael. Ishmael I named after an employee that worked at the sanctuary. He was Mexican, and he was the most incredible employee that I ever had. And he was called back to go to Mexico because his visa ran out, and he had to leave his family, and he was really sad. And I was very sad for him. And I decided to name the one cow Ishmael. And Ishmael was so sweet. He was loving. He was trying to trust. He was a little skeptical about these new digs. And he wanted to trust so badly. And I just loved him. His name means God will hear. Little Willow, she was a little bit more tough. She's like, I'm gonna protect Ishmael. No one's gonna tell me what to do. And she was really cute. Her personality was very similar to another cow that we had, whose name is Willow. So that's why I named her Little Willow. They just, were part of the sanctuary family. That's all I can say. They were just fit right in. Well, about a week later, the SPCA finally came to the sanctuary, and they wanted to come onto the premises. And I said, sure, brought them onto the premises. They took photos of the cows, and they said that they were going to try to find the owner. And so I received I was contacted by somebody that came forward as an alleged owner. Discussion about proof of ownership. And all I can say is that particular person came onto my property without permission, with an entourage of people and with the state police, demanding for Ishmael and Little Willow. No proof of ownership. I was following my attorney advice because I had contacted an attorney who said that they need to show you proof of ownership. There was no compensation for the boarding and care. According to my attorney, I had a lien on those animals. They just came and wanted those animals on the trailer without following the law, civil law. So I refused. This is how my attorney advised me, and I refused. And I told them that they were trespassing, and I must have told them they were trespassing at least 13 times before they left. It was a frightening experience, but at the same time, I stood my ground because I knew what was right. And I was going to follow the law and do everything possible I could to help these two innocent cows. Well, they left finally. And then it was about a week later, multiple state police came to the sanctuary and they raided the sanctuary. They handcuffed me, arrested me with a felony charge, which carries up to 7 years in prison. And they seized Ishmael and Little Willow. I was thrown in jail. I was there all day. And at my arraignment, they put a gag order on me and they silenced me. I couldn't talk about my innocence. I couldn't talk about the case. I couldn't talk about anything. And during this whole thing, I was slandered, ostracized, smeared. It was devastating for the sanctuary. Financially, our donations started to cease. Our donations were not coming in. I had to begin rehoming many of the animals just to survive. We rehomed them to vegan sanctuaries. It was just awful. It was just an awful, awful, awful thing for just simply wanting to care and protect those two precious cows.
Your story it's so moving and heart-wrenching to hear you cared for these beings who literally wandered onto your property, and then you provide the love and support, which is really your job. I mean, you are the the founder of the sanctuary. That's what you do, is that you take care of and rescue animals. And when they, especially those who appear suddenly, I mean, it seems like that would be a no-brainer. And all about the heart, which is what you clearly are. And we're just so grateful to you for what you've done and for standing your ground, for being able to stand your ground for the animals, which is what all of us do as activists, what all of us value. So tell us a little about what's happened since then.
Well, I just want to say the saddest thing of all is those animals, those precious cows that were part of our family were immediately sold. And very, very likely were slaughtered. That was the most devastating thing. Right now, I have wonderful attorneys representing me. They lifted the gag order, so now I can get on social media again, and I can start fundraising for all the animals that live here, precious cows and pigs and sheep and goats. So hopefully we don't have to rehome any more animals as long as we can get the donations in. So that was positive. The other thing that was positive is that this all happened in the town of Newfane. It's a very small farming community. And it was just a massive smear campaign. They protested outside of my sanctuary. It had to be 150 people. Fire trucks went by, beeping their horns, and tractors, and people having barbecues, 150 people yelling and screaming outside of my sanctuary, this loving, peaceful, wonderful sanctuary. It just signs everywhere to shut Asha down. People on social media saying, let's hang her, let's shoot her, let's kill her. Horrible, horrible things. And most of it coming out of the town of Newfane, where the sanctuary is, where we have lived peacefully for the past decade, peacefully and loving this community. So I was being tried in this community, this biased community. And we wanted to get it removed, and we're struggling trying to get it removed out of the town of Newfane, my trial, because of this bias. And 2 town justices, there's only 2 in the town of Newfane, 2 town justices looked at my case, looked at me, and looked at their relations with the community, and they recused themselves. They removed themselves from the case. So that meant that finally I was going to be tried, not in the town of Newfane, but in another town further away from this area. My next court date is coming up March 5th in the town of Wheatfield. It's still a farming community, but it's away from the town of Newfane, which is good. In my trial is scheduled for this summer. The district attorney, Brian Seaman, is dead set on trying me and dead set in putting me in jail. And that's where we stand right now. I'm thankful. I just want to say I'm thankful to God for giving me the strength and the courage and everything that I need to get through this, because I wouldn't be able to do it without him. And I thank my legal team. Man, they're doing such an incredible job. I don't know what I'd do without them.
Well, I'm very glad to hear that you have support. That is the most important thing. And that's a big part of why I wanted to feature the story for Activist Appreciation Month, because in a way it's bullying these activists who are trying to help animals and are doing their best for their compassion. And I'm so sorry to hear what happened with Ishmael and little Willow. That is absolutely devastating out of all of this, in addition to being traumatized by the town, by people who you thought supported you, by people who you interacted with on a daily basis. This must have been very difficult emotionally.
Yeah, it was very, very difficult. I had friends. I was on the business association for a year. I performed all my duties. I had, developed friendships with so many people. It was very difficult. And the one thing though, Lisa, I don't hate anybody. I'm not mad at anybody. I don't wish anybody anything bad or any harm or anything like that. That's not you know, I I really just wish that everything could be back the way it was, and I could live peacefully among my community. And I don't know what else to say, but just that I don't harbor any ill feelings.
Well, that's so kind of you to have that level of care and compassion for others, even those who may have wronged you. So I want to thank you for sharing your story, and I know it's a deeply moving one, and for many activists as well to hear, because this is what we stand for. We stand behind you 100%. We want to see Asha's farm sanctuaries thrive and regain its financial stability and security, and so that you can continue your noble cause for animals. I mean, you really have a calling to do this, and it's so clear in everything that you say and what you've done. So we're very grateful to you for what you're doing, and that we hope you can continue to do this. And I'm thinking there may be a couple of questions that we have. I'm going to see if there's some in the Q&A, and I know Mary's been so kind to help us in the chat box. So let's see. One question is going back to your early days when you were deeply affected by the billboard that you saw. Was that the question was asking if it was one of the PETA billboards? Do you remember anything about the billboard that gave you that inspiration to change?
Yeah, it was a PETA billboard. I didn't know even who they were, the organization or anything. And yeah, it was, I'm glad I went to the website because it definitely educated me on what was going on behind closed doors to all these innocent animals.
Yeah, it's good to know that these billboards make a difference. I mean, just to see how it affected your life, and to know that it's worthwhile to do that. Um, and then there's a question about Asha Sanctuary in general, where it's located. I mean, I can probably answer that's in upstate New York, but is there, and the other part of that question is, how does this beautiful place enhance your community? And then maybe how have you been getting along with your neighbors, perhaps before this incident?
Oh, how does it enhance? It's when, there was a cruelty case that was out in Middleport, and the animals that were being starved to death, animals that were getting no medical care. And they actually had to, the Nassau County SPCA they had to find homes for these animals. They shut the farm down. And two of the animals that they actually called me about were Naomi and Ruthie. They were two Yorkshire cross pigs. And they said that Naomi was really friendly and they wanted to know if I would take her, that there was another pig, Ruthie, but they said that they were just going to send her to a farm. And I said, well, why? Why can't she come too? And they said, well, she was really in bad condition. She was neck deep in waste. And when they tried to rescue her, she tried to bite one of the rescue workers. And we just think her emotional wounds are just too deep. And I said, look, we have this beautiful sanctuary. We're just starting out. I said, we can give her food in her belly. We can give her love. We can give her room to walk around in space. And we can, most of all, we can give her the time to heal. And they agreed. And Ruthie came to live at Asha. That is what is so great about Asha's Farm Sanctuary, that we are here, and that if something happens like this again in this community, that they know that they could come to Asha and we will take care of those animals. Ruthie recovered. I would bring her in breakfast every day, and she would talk with me, and she would love me, and I would rub her belly, and I would snuggle with her for a little bit, and she was happy. And she hung out with the cows, and she hung out with the sheep, and she hung out with the goats. She really loved being with them a lot. And she lived a long life at Asha. And sadly, just 2 days ago, Ruthie passed. Devastating, because I'm going to miss her so much. And the thousands and thousands of people and children that met her and loved her and touched her are going to miss her so much. But she had a beautiful life finally. She knew what it was like to be truly loved. That's what Asha's Farm Sanctuary is all about. That's what it gives to this community. It gives love and hope and life to these innocent animals that so deserve it.
Well, that is the perfect example of how your sanctuary has benefited the local community. That's amazing. What a wonderful life. She was such an ambassador for all the people who got to meet her. Thank you for sharing that. It's really, really beautiful. There are a couple more questions, and some of the folks are saying that they really support you and they want to help you through this. There have been people, part of the chat, who are sharing that they plan to donate to help as well. So I'm so glad that you're able to share your story here. There's one question about the animal residence, and hopefully your trial will go well, and we do expect that to be the case. Do you have a thought is about the animal residence if you were to have to be imprisoned like you were for that day?
When I was in prison that day, volunteers from everywhere came, leaders were formed. It was amazing. Those animals were so well taken care of when I was in jail. And the same thing will happen. There will be people that will step in and they will do what they need to do to take care of all these precious animals. Let's hope that that doesn't happen. But whatever God's will is, I'm okay with that. All good will come of this for the animals. Only goodness will come from this. I know that to be true.
Wow. Well, that's wonderful that you have such a great team, and also of volunteers that truly believe in your mission and that are there to step in when you need help. And that's so important, that level of support, so you know in your heart that the animals will be safe, and that's the role of the sanctuary in your area. So that's good to know. I'm sure that many of the people watching are relieved to know that the animals will be safe and well cared for. Um, I also think that you will be safe and well cared for. I too have faith that things will go well. Um, so uh, I think we might be getting pretty close to towards the end, but there is a question that maybe that you could answer. One of them, it says, what can we do to help? So in Defense of Animals, we've put together this, what we call an alert, and we put the link in the chat, and you can sign that alert, and that alert is actually sending individual letters directly to the DA, the district attorney in the area. And so far, they've received at least 10,000 letters. So they know that we're out there. They know that we are concerned about this case. And so you're welcome to do that. That can help. There are also phone numbers to call in that alert, and ways to take action on social media. And there may be other things you can do to help. So wondering what you might have to say, Tracy.
A share about the case, support in defense for animals and all their great work and what they're doing for Asha's Farm Sanctuary. Donate. Our donations are definitely down as a result of what happened. Donating will help us feed the animals. It'll help us care for the animals. It'll help us not have to rehome any more animals. That's a real possibility that we may have to do, and we don't want to do that. So just support us, volunteer, come and volunteer. We really need help cleaning barns. We're actually going to have more volunteer opportunities coming up. So, I guess volunteer, support, share, donate. That will help us tremendously.
Thank you. That's a great way to help, especially if you're in the New York area. And just wanted to see from Mary. Mary, is there any maybe last question you would like to share with us from someone?
There were a few questions earlier in the chat. Some people wanted to know where you were giving lectures or hosting lectures, I should say. I imagine that was in the same town where you are now.
Yeah, so I was hosting lectures out of Buffalo, Amherst, and that's where I was doing it. When I started the sanctuary, I wasn't able to do that anymore because I'm busy taking care of all the animals. But we are hosting a film, Christspiracy, and that's coming up. So everybody should look that up, Christspiracy. And really not able to host any more lectures right now, especially with what's going on, but hopefully we will soon. I'm glad there's interest in that, and maybe we'll start doing that again.
Another question in here was, what kind of response did you get, if any, from the governor of New Jersey?
A response from the governor of New Jersey.
Tracy's in New York, so
oh, okay, New York.
that's why
someone wrote to New Jersey. It's an error. So New York then.
I haven't heard from him.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't heard from governor.
Well, thank you so much for asking those questions, and Mary for helping to field the chat box. We are toward the end of our time today, so I wanted to just take a moment and thank you, Tracy, for joining us and for sharing your story with us. This has been an incredible experience for all of us including my cat, if you can hear her, she's talking too, just to hear the depth of the journey that you've been on. I mean, from everything from the how you started your vegan journey to being inspired by Asha to create the sanctuary, and then to provide such a resource for your community, and also loving care for animals who come to your sanctuary, even those who just wander in. And so we really support you. There's so many little hearts and loves being put on the screen here in the Zoom, and this is a perfect finale to our Activist Appreciation Month. So we're here to tell you how much we appreciate you and all that you do for the animals. And I wanted to thank everyone for tuning in today, and for Mary for helping us. If you want to find the replays from this and all of our other programs that we offer this month, you can go to idausa.org /activist month. And that's where all of this will live. So you can find that there, and you can also support our work as well at idausa.org /donate. So again, just such a perfect ending to this month of celebrating animal rescue. Thank you so much, Tracy. We will stay tuned with your work, and we have an active petition or alert out there for you to help you, and we will keep you posted on how that's doing. Reaching out to the DA, and we will keep up on what's happening with you with this trial. And just know that you've got loads of support out here. We're here. You stood with the animals, and we are standing with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and happy Activist Appreciation Month. Goodbye, everyone.